When Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin reached the moon, humans set foot on another world for the first time. Television screens shared the momentous first steps in countries around the world, captivating an entire generation and planting the seed of possibility for what was to come in space exploration.
Television had been around for about 20 years. It came on the scene in the late 1940s as a very interesting but expensive piece of furniture. Up until that point, radio was the way people got their news, and still newspapers to a large extent, but radio very much was integrated into the life of Americans. And so in the 60s, television penetration was high across the country, and so most people by that time had televisions, or at least somewhere where they could go to watch television. But still, there were only 3 networks, right? There were only 3 channels to get broadcasts, and so when you think of that situation or that environment compared to today, when we have so many different options, so many places to go to get information, it was a lot different. You could almost guarantee that if a huge news event happened, most of the country was going to see it. And that's exactly what happened with the moon landing. It was such a big deal, and there was such a lot of talk leading up to it, a lot of news going on. You know, there were so many reports about what the Russians were doing with their space program and how they had achieved several things that we hadn't achieved yet, and so they were kind of leading that whole space race. When the mission to the moon launched, people were waiting with rapt anticipation, and they all gathered around their televisions to see it. But I don't think that we'll ever see the same kind of media environment again and the same reach that television had at that time, just because of all the fragmentation and all the many options that we have these days of where we get our news.